Hello, welcome to a Paper Flourish craft video. My name is Julie. Today I wanted to show you a brilliant product from Timholtz. We've had these in store for a little while, but they're kind of a little bit hidden in the store and I think a little bit unknown. And they are awesome bases for mixed media projects. These are the Etcetera panels. There are the rectangle panels and there's also the square panels and the facades. So they're the ones I wanted to show you today. Now they're a really good sturdy chipboard panel base and great value. Say in the rectangle you get two different sizes and you get two of each. So 4 panels there for your mixed media projects. Same with the square one. You've got two different sizes. In this one there's an 8.5 inch square and a 7.25 inch square panel, 2 of each in the pack. The facades have 4 different facades in them, and these can be used on their own or they can be used as well. You can stack them on top of your projects, which is what I'm going to do today. So what I've chosen to use in a project today, and I've already prepared these with Stamperia Primer. I've chosen the larger size square panel, the 8.5 inch. You can see here it's a really good, thick, strong panel. And then out of the facades, I've chosen this one. Now when they come, you get 4 facades and each has this piece in the middle, which you could remove that and use it separately. Doesn't have to be used together, but I'm planning on using both of them today. And this is the one I've chosen to use. Now in that pack as well, in the facades pack, you get this pack of strips, which you can use to layer up the panel. So that'll make sense a little bit later on as I'm starting to put the project together. So these are the pieces I'm going to use. Let me just pop those other ones to the side for the moment. And I've decided to use the Stamperia Romance Forever collection to decorate a panel. And eventually I'd like to put a wedding photo onto this panel. So my original idea was I was going to get my 8-inch pad and use that on the front. Then I realised the panel's a bit big. But I do have here the beautiful fabric collection. So I'm going to use one of these pieces and stick it to the front of the panel. This is the piece of fabric I've decided to use. I just love, look at the flowers. Everything about this is just beautiful. Before I attach this, I'm going to paint the panel front, back and sides, and I'm going to use the Stamperia Ancient Pink paint. I'm going to do the same with both of these facade pieces as well. Just paint everything in Ancient Pink. These pieces are all painted now, front and back, with that beautiful Ancient Pink paint, gorgeous colour. So what I'm going to do now is the piece of fabric I chose, I'm going to attach this to the front of the panel, and I'm going to use a good generous layer of mixed media glue to do that. I'll trim it and then seal it with 2 coats of mixed media glue, drying in between each coat. So that'll attach that. These pieces here, I'm going to cover these with some of the papers from the beautiful Romance Forever collection. I've got the 8x8 pad here, and I've chosen, I thought this lovely piece, it looks like a wood panel, will be nice here. And what I've done is I've already traced around the piece and I'll cut that out. Same thing, I'll stick it to the front with a layer of mixed media glue and then seal with 2 coats of mixed media glue. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with this piece. I've chosen this beautiful purpley floral piece. Again, just traced around. I'm going to cut that out and stick that to the front, sealing with the 2 coats of mixed media glue. All right, they're completely dry now and sealed down, all those papers and also the fabric on here. I ended up using a different piece of paper on the front of the facade. I went with this one. This is the other side of it. It's a little bit pinker. The other one I felt was a little bit too purple. And so I changed my mind and used the pink. Now I'm going to do some stenciling, starting with the smaller piece. And I'm going to use Stamperia volume paste. And this was from the Vintage Library collection, I think. The stencil, I think it's called Calligraphy. But I will check all of that and put all of the details of the products I use in the description for the video. So just with the back of my palette knife, I'm just going to add some patches of script onto this piece here. I've gone ahead and dried that. So just to add that stenciling, the script, there's a little bit of script here on the pink paper. So I thought I'll just pick that up. And there's also some script on the large piece. Now on the large piece, now this is another stencil. I think this is also from Vintage Library collection. As you can see, it's a stencil I've used a lot. It's a really lovely stencil. This time I want a stencil in glossy gel. I just want it to be clear. And I'm just going to add some patches. Just like that. And when that dries, it will be clear. I add a little bit down in the bottom corner as well. And maybe, I'll just do those two sections, I think. So I'll go ahead and dry that with my heat tool. That's dry. Not sure if you can see, if I tip it that way, you can see it's gone clear. I'll end up doing a patch here, patch up here. I also did just a little bit down through this area here as well. I'm going to add some white crackle paste. I'm going to use the Stamperia white crackle paste. Okay, I'm going to scrape the white crackle paste. I'm going to bring it around the edges. And also then I'm going to bring it, so I'm going to go all the way around the edges, but I'm also just going to do some light scrapes here. And see how it's picking up the stencil as well? Just add some of that around the edges. Just very light. Add it onto the edge. And so I'll go around and finish that. I'm also going to add just some little scrapes of the white crackle onto the front of the facade here as well. I think that could look quite good, just in places. Crackle paste all there. It's not dry yet, so I'll go ahead and dry it, but I just wanted to see, so you could see I've just done that sort of light scraping there, leaving this most of the center clear, but I said it has picked up that stenciling, and I've just scraped it along the edges just randomly. So I will dry that and then show you it when it's dry. That crackle paste crackles so well. I'll hold that up so you can see all the beautiful fine crackles that have come through that paste on the sides as well, and of course on this piece as well. Just those beautiful crackles. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of colour now because I don't want to leave that crackle paste all white. I still want a little bit of the white showing through, but I want to add some colour. So I've two of the Stamperia paints, Ancient Pink again, which is what I painted the pieces with to begin, and also the Lilac. I've picked up that colour as well. I've put a little bit on my paper palette next to me and added water to it, so I've watered it down. And my spray bottle is ready to go. Let's start with this one. So what I'm going to do is just tap some paint on and give it a squirt, let it run around a bit. Can dab it off if need be. Play around with sort of both colours, add a little bit of colour into this, and then give that a dry. And I'm going to do the same on the front and sides of the panel as well. But so I want to leave some of the crackle paste there. Just adding that little touch of colour as well. So that one's dried off now. See, it's just added that little bit of those colours back through the paste. You can still see the crackle paste. What I'm doing on the front here is, this is the Lilac, and I'm just going to dab it. So this is the watered down paint, and I've already done this along the sides of the panel, just in places, just adding that colour. I'm not going to squirt this down with water. I think I'm just going to, I want to leave the colour there. Maybe if it goes a bit dark like that, I might. Just move it around a little bit, that's better. Make us a little bit more cloudy. And then I'll do the same here with a little bit of, just go back in with that ancient pink. And then I'll dry that off with my heat tool. They're just very subtle colours, so I can still see the crackle paste coming through there. It's just no longer stark white. That's all dry now. I'm just going to put that to the side for the moment. The facade, I have this is the Old Rose Aqua Colour Spray. I'm going to just give this a bit of a spray. I want to darken this a little bit. And then with my paper towel, I'm just going to dab that back. This is just going to add that little bit more colour, little slightly heavier colour to it, and then give that a dry. That's what I was looking for. It was all looking a little bit the same before. And then just to help that colour tie in on the bottom, I'm just going to spray a little bit of this Old Rose onto the mat, pick it up on my finger, and I'm just going to rub this around the edges, just to darken, just lightly, but just to bring that colour in just around the edges of the canvas as well, the panel. Can even go a little bit onto the sides as well, bring that colour in through there. But that Old Rose colour works really nicely with this collection. These aqua colour sprays are awesome because they dry permanent. There we are, that's all dry. Now you probably think I'm crazy here. I've just made it a little bit darker, and now I'm going to go in with titanium white paint, which is, again, Stamperia paint, and I've got a dry brush, and I've got hardly any on my brush here. And I'm just going to dry brush a little bit of that white in. I love, like, the cloudy look this gives it. You see when I do that, see how it just brings that cloud in? So it's not really darkening the colour, it's not really changing the colour too much, but just to give that almost like shabby chic, cloudy finish. And I'm going to do that on all three pieces. I love the way that just that dry brushing with the white paint has even picked up the glossy gel stenciling. Just made that a little bit more obvious. All right, now I'm just going to have a look at these on here, and we're trying to work out whether I need to add some colour around the edge of the pieces. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start with this one. I've got my black Archival, and I'm just going to lightly go around the edge. I don't want to make it too dark, but I want it just to be enough that these pieces do stand out a little bit against the background. See? And I'll do the same around this one. It's always very scary going in with a dark colour. All right, so those pieces, it's time to start assembling this panel. So I'm going to, first up, just pop the facades onto the panel. Now I'm going to do this with glossy gel. This is where these strips come into play, because to raise this, the outside of the facade up, you can use these strips apparently. So you must stick these, I guess, to the back, and then that raises them up on the panel. So let's start by working out exactly where I want this to go. I'm going to put it over on the side like this, around about there. So my glossy gel, Stamperia Glossy Gel. Let's pop some blobs on the back here and stick this down. Okay. Great thing about glossy gel, you've got time to move it around if you don't have it in quite the right position. I think that's probably going to be about right. Make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to stick these onto the back. I might do that with some good old 450 glue, or even might use Stamperia craft glue. Stick these pieces, and then I'll stick that down onto the panel with my glossy gel. So here's the back of this piece with the strips on there. That craft glue is still just drying a little bit. You can cut them, so you can cut them to size. And then actually I might use the Stamperia craft glue again, just going onto all those pieces, and then I'll pop that onto the panel. All right, that's still just sticking down there, but I love the way it gives that dimension to your piece, those facades. Really cool. And I've also grabbed some lace, just some nice wide lace, and with my glossy gel, put that down, and I've stuck a piece of lace here on the side of the canvas. That looked quite pretty. I'm going to have a play now with the die cuts. This is from the Romance Forever collection, to work out which die cuts are going to go on here. And I also got to play with, I want to use a mould as well, so play with that and work out maybe even some flowers. So I'll have a play with a composition, show you in a moment what I come up with. So I've been playing around with the composition I'm going to use, and I've used the die cuts. So I've already worked out which ones I want. I thought this looks quite nice up in the corner. There's a lovely spray of flowers there, which fits just beautifully at the top of the facade. Cute little butterfly, another little lot of flowers here, which I thought would look quite nice down the bottom. Kind of balances it out. Bride and groom. I've got some flowers. Now these came from three different Prima flower packs. I will list the ones I've used in the description, but they came from there. I've got some pieces of lace which I thought I might eventually pop in amongst the flowers. And I'm going to use this mould. Now this came out in the Precious collection. And there's a whole lot of hearts on here, different sizes, frames. It's a really beautiful mould. I've made that out of resin. So in a moment I will decorate that mould. Now I've already gone around the edge of the die cuts. I've edged them with just lightly with the black Archival ink. You could also use a brown if you feel the black's too dark. Use a brown ink on that one. So I'm just going to pop all these pieces to the side just for the moment, because before I start to stick everything together, number one, I do want to decorate the mould, but I'm going to add some paint splatters as well. I'm going to use Stamperia Ivory paint. Let's pop a little bit out, won't need too much. And then I'm going to water it down. There's my water bottle. And splatter brush. Love a good splatter brush. Always take some off first. You get rid of the heavy ones first. And then I'm just going to add some light splatters with that ivory paint. And then give that a quick dry off with my heat tool. All right, this is the mould. I've already gone ahead and I have painted it, sealed it with primer, coat of primer, and then I have painted it with the beautiful lilac paint. This is Stamperia Vintage Patina White, and I'm going to paint the entire mould with this patina. And then I'll dry it, just so, bring it back, dry it to around probably about 70% dry. And then wipe it back with a baby wipe. So I'll show you that in just a moment. All right, so that's dried a little, but not completely dry. I've got a baby wipe ready, taking a fair bit of the moisture out of that baby wipe. And then I'm just going to wipe this back. Just bringing some of that lovely purple back. Isn't that beautiful? I love the finish of that patina. So I'll just completely dry that now. And then it's almost dry as it is, I think. I think that should be okay. And then this is some white pearl wax, and I might use this on the rest of the canvas in just a moment too. A bit on my hand, and I'm just going to add that little bit of a pearly finish onto that as well. Isn't that pretty? Oops, that pearl white wax just finishes it off. Really pretty. Okay, time to start to put this canvas together. So I'm going to start, where are we? I've got all my pieces on the side. Let's pop this piece down first. I'm using Stamperia Glossy Gel. Blobs underneath the pieces, push them down. If a little bit seeps out, just like it did there, have a fine brush ready to use. Somewhere I've got one here. That one will do. Okay. And what you can do with that fine brush then is just pick up that glossy gel that's seeped out, just so you don't see it. There we go. Glossy gel, so it gives you that, it takes just that little bit to dry, so you've got time to move things around if you need to. This little bunch of flowers down into the bottom corner. Just popping it underneath there. Move it down. And then where is this beautiful bunch to go up here as well? Such a beautiful collection. So pretty. There we are. Okay. Bride and groom. So they'll be sitting flat against here, but of course I need to build up underneath them just so that they stay raised like they are. So I'm going to put some pieces of box board underneath the bride and groom. You can see what I've done here underneath the bride. So I've layered up pieces of box board so that she sits flat, so that her dress will sit against the bottom of the facade, and then the rest should sit nice and flat onto the panel. So I'm going to put some blobs of glossy gel underneath there, and pop her into place. And then I'll do the same thing with the groom. All right, so some of these pieces are in place, some I haven't put down yet. My butterfly I can pop in. Glossy gel on the back. And I'm just going to pop that butterfly just up here. There we go. All right. Now, as I've put this together, I've cut out a piece. This is one of the cards that's in the 8x8 collection, because that's probably about the size of the photo that will eventually go onto the panel. So probably eventually, once I've got a photo, I'll just pop it on top of there. Once I've put this in, I feel it's just a little bit too light. So I'm going to be very brave. This is Burgundy wax. I want to add a little bit of depth to it. Not sure how this is going to go, but we'll find out. Yeah, this is going to be better. Just want to add that little touch of a darker colour. I'm a lot happy with that. I like that, just that little bit of depth of colour there. So what I might do, do I like it? I think I like it on the angle like that. So I might, first of all, I'm just going to pop this into position. Oh, I love using glossy gel to put things together. So good. And then I'm going to pop that down there on the angle, I think. Almost there. This is out of the die cuts, the word love. A bit of glossy gel on the back. And I would like to see this just somehow coming in off the heart. Oh, that'll work. Flowers. Everything's moving around a little bit until that glossy gel sets. The flowers, I'm going to pop those into place, and then I've cut some pieces of that lace, which I'm thinking of just popping in between them. Actually, I might do that first, just so you've got the ends of that lace just sort of just coming up between the flowers like that. Flowers are going into position with glossy gel. Blob on the back, pop the flower into position. See how that lace just coming up through there looks quite pretty. I'll get a little bit more of that in there somewhere in a moment. Hold that up so you can just see the flowers. See how I've just put those little pieces of lace in there? Tried to have them sticking up a little bit. There we are. So that's all put together. The last thing I'm going to do, the glossy gel is still just drying, but I'm going back in with that titanium white paint, dry brush, and now I can add some extra little touches of white where I want to. So I'm going to add some onto the flowers. So be careful because they're still not quite stuck into position yet. White pearl wax, and I'm just going to bring a little bit into the corner, maybe a little bit on the side here. Just wherever you want to have that little bit of shine. And that's all finished. Found that white pearl wax just pricks up the lace has got a bit of a sheen to it, so it sort of picks that up as well. Hold this up so you can see it. Everything's still just drying, that glossy gel. So my Romance Forever canvas panel, using those fantastic timholtz facades and panels. So it's so good for your mixed media projects, and of course the beautiful Stamperia products. Thank you so much for watching and joining me. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I'll be back again soon with more videos. Thank you. Bye.